OPM, OPK, OPM, OPK. That's what you need to know if you don't have any of your own money.
Welcome to the Mind Over Money podcast with Jessen James, the only podcast you need to tune into each week to grow your personal, professional, and financial life. Join entrepreneur, investor, and multi-award-winning international speaker Jessen James as he shows you how to take control of your mind to create the life, income, and career you deserve. Here's your host, Jessen James.
Friends. Some of you will have friends. Now, this is important to understand, especially in professional backgrounds. I know a lot of professional people who work in professional environments who not only do they earn good money themselves, but their other professional colleagues or friends also earn good money too. However, none of them know what to do with it. So if you have any friends that have money, you may be able to tap into that money in order to raise that money to get involved in an investment, okay? Pensions. Now, again, I'm not giving anyone any advice on this. However, if you have a pension right now, you can speak to a specialist and they may, it's not guaranteed, may be able to help you, providing it's a certain type of pension, use some of that money in that pension pot to invest in property, for example. You can release some of that money to invest in property. However, it's partly going towards your retirement plan, okay? So there are certain conditions that need to be met and you can't just take all of the money out in one go and all that kind of stuff, okay? So there's other ways to do that. Lenders. What do I mean by lenders? These are people who specifically will fund certain deals. For example, these could be crowdfunders. These could be bridging finance companies. They could be development finance companies if you're doing property deals. These are all specific panels of lenders who have access to either their own funds or private equity funds, and they're able to lend you that money depending on what you're doing with it. So for example, if you're going to do a property, you might acquire a property using bridging finance, and then you might develop it using development finance, whatever it might be. Once the project is done, you might flip that onto a proper like commercial mortgage, pull money out, do whatever you're doing, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So there are lenders out there that might lend you money to fund stuff, okay? Personal or business loans. Now, in a moment, I'm going to show you how you can get a decent return on your money. But let me just put it into perspective. If you took out a loan for 12 months and the interest rate on that loan was, say, 6%, just for argument's sake, but when you used that money for a whole year in a particular investment, you got 12%. Would you agree with me that you've just made 6% profit? Yes? You took the loan out for 6% interest, but you invested it somewhere else, which brought you 12% interest back, okay? Then you pay off the loan plus their 6% interest. How much are you left with? 6%. Okay. So think about that. Some of you have got businesses right now that have a strong balance sheet, that are cash flowing really, really well. You can borrow money against your business and reinvest it elsewhere. These are other things. I've done this several times, and I've done it to acquire new businesses by just literally pulling business loans or crowdfunding against other businesses to go invest in other things. Okay. Equity, or what they call sometimes vapor money. All right. If you are sitting on your own property right now and you have equity in your property, there are clever ways for you to release that equity without even having to remortgage your property. For example, some bridging companies, which are specific short-term financial lenders on when it comes to doing property deals, for example, may be happy with you securing 10, 15, 20,000 pounds against your current property. And they might put a second charge on your property and they don't even have to touch the money. Yeah. So a lot of people are sitting on what we call vapor money. They literally don't even have to remortgage their houses. Okay. This is what we call equity in their properties. So many people, like I know so many people right now that have mortgage-free houses. They're literally sitting on a gold mine and they have no idea. And sadly, it's actually not doing anything for them. Okay. So you don't even need to remortgage your house. I mean, in some people, they remortgage one of their properties in order to pull money out, but then now they're having to pay extra monthly payments each month. But with this vapor money technique, where you just get things borrowed against your property as a second charge, as it were, you can use that to your advantage. It's such a powerful strategy that a lot of my investors use. Yeah. Here's the other thing: other people's equity. If you have friends or family or people who who have equity in their own properties, then you can approach these people with the right deal and the right opportunity and look at how you can get them to release some of that. So for example, if you have a parent or a family member or a friend and you want to go off and do a property deal or something of the sort, if you get creative, you can ask them if they would give permission to have, they say 20 grand secured against their home, for example, against their property investment. Okay. And remember, I'm going to be speaking a little bit more about property now, because I think it's probably one of the safest asset classes to talk about. Remember, with property, you're investing in an asset-backed business. Always remember that. Okay. You're investing in bricks and mortar. So if you borrowed someone's money and you take that money, let's say you secure a property deal against somebody else's equity, just remember, if you never pay them back, they have a charge on that property legally, like a legal charge, right? Like they can also freaking end up, taking this money back in some way or form. There are ways to structure it. I'm not going to go into it now because it'll get confusing, but there are good lawyers and solicitors out there that will structure some really, really cool deals for you guys using other people's equity. And this is why I want you to do this. I want you to get creative with OPM. Other people's money. Other people's money. Get creative with other people's money. It's very possible to structure deals with other people. And I'll explain why in a minute. And this is going to be specifically useful for you if you don't actually have your own funds to invest right now. It's going to be very, very useful for you to understand. Okay. Next, once you've raised this money, you need to deploy it. Okay. Step 4 is make that money work. Deploy that money. Make it go and work. That's what it needs to do. Okay. You shouldn't really work for your money. You should make your money work for you. Go and deploy that money. So this is what we call cash deployed versus cash saved. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do believe you should have some cash savings reserves to cover your, anything that might go wrong. Okay. However, you must deploy the rest of it. Make it go and work for you. Saving it isn't exactly the best thing to do. Look what's happening at the moment. I already said that to you. So many people have depleted now their cash, whereas they could have deployed it before the pandemic and had it working for them in other ways. All right. So you must understand cash deployed versus cash saved. And then step 5, collect the profits and recycle the money. For example, if you invest in a property and you make some profit, if you're investing your own money into a property, for example, and you pull that money out and you collect your profits, what are you going to do with it? Do it again. It's the same when we work with investors. Like we might work with an investor, we take their money over 12 to 24 months, we give them a fixed rate return on their money. Once we've finished our project, we give them their money that they invested plus their interest. What do you think they do with that money? What do you think they do with that money that we've just paid them back? Reinvest it. Yes, exactly. They give it back. Exactly. You guys are exactly right. They give it back. Why? Because they've just made some money from money that wasn't going to make them anything. So they want to recycle it and do it again.
Hey, it's Jessen James here, founder of Unstoppable You. And right now, my guess is you're curious. Maybe you're in a situation right now where you want more out of life and you just don't know how to get there. You're in a job or in a situation that's making you feel trapped and you want to break free from that situation. Well, look, come and join us at Unstoppable You. This is a 3-day live immersive experience on how to leave whatever's in the past and break through to the future that you deserve. There's a link. My advice is click on it, get yourself booked in before the tickets run out. I promise you it'll be the best 3 days that you spend so you can unlock the rest of your future and live the life that you truly deserve. And I look forward to seeing you there.
There's 5 steps to making more money. Step 1, money psychology. Know your money blueprint. Understand the money psychology that goes on. Start taking an investment attitude, not a cost attitude. Get creative, everyone. There is money out there in abundance, absolute abundance. Okay. Step 2, think of your investment vehicles. Be super clear on whether you're looking at short-term, medium-term, or long-term investment vehicles. This is really, really important, okay? So think about it. Do you need cash now? Are you looking for sort of medium-term returns, or are you looking to build your pot long-term? Have a think about that. Step 3, raise money. Raise money. You've got to get creative with this in raising money. Now, this isn't hard when you start to get creative. I've just shared with you, there are different places you can raise money: friends, family, banks, loans, private finance, private firms, whatever. There are lots of different ways for you to raise money, whether that's you speaking to people that you know, whether that's speaking to people that know people. It's about getting creative, even down to thinking about equity, whether it's in your own property or people that you know. There are people sitting on gold mines right now, and they don't understand this stuff. Okay. Now, I'm not saying to you that all of them are going to be able to want to give you that. That's not true. But there are people, if you explain to them correctly, they'll understand how to release equity in their homes. Step 4, deploy the money, make it go and work for you. And then step 5, collect profits and recycle the money. However, remember this, and please, please, please always remember this. Income follows assets. Please write that down. Income follows assets. And here's my advice. You don't need to be a millionaire to be financially free. Please understand that. You do not need to be a millionaire to be financially free. You don't need to be, okay? What you need to do though is make your assets pay for your living expenses, right? Now, what do I mean by this? This could be a variety of assets, but make your assets pay for your living expenses. For example, I'm very grateful because my businesses, for example, pay me whether I go there or not. All right. And they cover my living expenses. Yeah. My intellectual property covers bills. Like all of this stuff you got to make your assets pay for your living expenses. Anything after that, happy days. Okay. So here's what I'd like you to do for yourself right now. I want you to ask yourself this question. How much money do you need to make in residual income each month? How much do you need to make each month to cover all of your outgoings? Just write that figure down for yourself on a piece of paper. What is your freedom number? This is what I'm talking about. This is where you should all be heading to, your freedom number. For some of us, it might be a couple of thousand. For some of us, it might be 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. It doesn't matter. Whatever your freedom number is, that's what you need to be working on. Yeah. A lot of people get blinded by bling, bling, freaking millionaire, this, millionaire, that, and I can make you rich and blah, 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 blah. I don't care about all of that because you don't need to be a millionaire to live like one. You don't need to be a millionaire to live like one. But what you need to be aware of is what your freedom number is. And then find a way to get that number through residual income, through some of the investment assets classes that I've been talking about right now. Here's the thing though, you can do it even if you don't have any money. You can do this without even having any money or any knowledge. Here's how you do that. You do it using OPM, other people's money, and something that I've just coined, OPK. OPK. So you can do this using OPM, other people's money, and OPK. What is OPK? Other people's knowledge. That's what it is. Other people's knowledge. Plain and simple. You can do it with OPM and OPK. If you can get creative, like, let me give you some couple of scenarios here. If you already have money in the bank, but let's say, for example, you don't know how to invest it. Now, here's another scenario for you. If you know people who have money because you don't have it yourself, but you partner up that person with the person who has the knowledge and you go as the middle person, am I right in saying it's possible for you to get a commission out of that deal? Yeah. And this is why I want you to get creative, my friends. Every single one of you listening to this right now will know other people who have money, even if you don't have it. I did this on Friday. On Friday last week, I raised, some of you might even be on this web class who were there, and you can vouch for this because some of you were in the room when I did it. I raised over £717,000 in just 4 hours of other people's money. just by making a few phone calls, sending out a few messages. Yeah. And that's me. That was me. And now I'm not going to say that's the usual for everybody. I've been working on my relationships for a long time. I have been working and building relationships for a long time. So it was easier for me to do that. Why? Because I've been doing the work behind the scenes. Every single one of you can do that. So many people can do this. So here's the thing. If you can find people who have money, whether that's cash in the bank, whether that's equity in their homes or whatever it might be, and you partner up with OPK, other people's knowledge, you can make good money just by doing that. Three important letters you need to understand. First, OPM. The second three is what? OPK. OPM, OPK. OPM, OPK. That's what you need to know if you don't have any of your own money. Appreciate every single one of you. Have a phenomenal evening, and I'll speak to you soon. Good night and God bless. Take care.
You've been listening to the Mind Over Money podcast with Jessen James. Don't forget to subscribe and follow on all the channels, links in the show notes. Please also leave a review and visit www.jessenjames.com to find more resources on how to create the life you deserve.